Hi, it's Tim Hagen from Progress Coaching, and welcome to another episode of Coaching Conversations. And I wanted to make you aware of something very cool that we're doing on a subscription basis, and we'll put a link in each one of our episodes. But every Wednesday, we're going to be doing what we call an audio podcast workshop. That workshop will be roughly about 14 to maybe 20 minutes per episode, with each month having a theme from a coaching model, using feedback strategically, to coaching self-awareness, and so on. So if you could look in the body or in the content description of each episode, and you will see a link where you can join this subscription. These are literally 4 workshops every month teaching specific strategies to address a particular area of workplace coaching as it relates, again, to things like awareness, motivation, teamwork, and what have you. Here's the cool thing. It's only $10 per month, and each month you will get a handout that we will follow along with. So we also give you a tool for you to take notes as we go through each episode. We hope you'll check it out.
So how do we conduct business? How do we work with clients during this pandemic crisis without being perceived as crossing the line? How do we have these conversations without being perceived as underhanded or using the crisis as a tool to generate business? On the flip side, we need to keep conducting business. And everybody talks about empathy. How do we do that while also showing empathy and not decreasing our empathy? So when we're working with clients or prospective clients, one of the healthiest things we can do is to use coaching when we're selling or engaging or working with clients. Now, as I write this outline for this podcast, I thought to myself, I've never really loved selling. It's actually something, if I never had to do it again, I'd be okay with that. So it begs the question, how do we have those conversations? Here's a 3-step process to continue having a dialogue about doing business while not losing your empathy. First, it's a technique called pushing the objection. Now, a lot of clients and a lot of prospective clients are hunkering down and saying, we're going to put things on hold. We got to put our project on hold. And some of those are very viable decisions. When you push the objection, you have to determine if there's value. And one of the biggest mistakes traditional salespeople make is they assume value. They talk about value. They sell value, but they never ascertain if the client has experienced or understands the value. There's a big difference. So when you push the objection, you push it aside and say, Mr. and Mrs. Customer, in terms of the work that we've demonstrated or in terms of the work we've done for you, how would you describe the value? Oh, we've loved it. The minute you get a positive affirmation, you come back. You bring the issue back in and say, okay, great. Number 2, here's the key phrase. Let's explore. What if we explored? Explore is exploratory, obviously. Let's explore. What if we explored some options of continuing to provide you that value and maybe found a creative way to do business together? That is a very open way of doing it. Now, the client, the prospective client might say, no, we really can't. I've been instructed absolute mandatory shutdown. Okay, then you don't have anywhere to go. Or do they crack the door open and say, oh, okay, well, what did you have in mind? Now you are indeed exploring. Here's the part you have to be careful. Step 3 is the phrase, what if we? Well, what if we use the following perspectives from a pricing standpoint? Or what if we, and you list 2, maybe 3 options. Now, you should have a framework of understanding those options before the interaction, but you don't want them so well thought out it comes off manipulative. That's that fine line. Now, what we do at our company is I own the content, I own the technology, I own the people who are producing the content in terms of their content they produce. And the point being is we have a lot of ways of manipulating what we do because we own it. So when you are having this conversation, you are using things like, well, what if we shared a couple perspectives from a creative pricing standpoint and maybe a creative delivery standpoint? Notice my voice. I'm inquisitive. I'm kind of exploring in front of you. Now, you don't want to have such a well thought out option that you're going bullet point by bullet point by bullet point, because it really undermines the first two things you're doing. Again, there's that fine line. We should have a framework, but we should truly, truly, truly be exploring ways to do business. So again, number one, push the objection. Okay, I understand you feel like you've got to stop. I totally get it. Let's push that aside. What would your description of our value be? Determine value. If it's very positive, bring it back in and go to step 2. Let's explore. What if we explored some creative ways of working together so you can continue to get what you want as you stated in the prior question? That's step 2. Step 3 is let's share. Let's explore some perspectives. And I love to use the phrase, what if we? What if we looked at some different perspectives from maybe a delivery standpoint or a pricing standpoint? And the client says, well, yeah, okay, what'd you have in mind? Well, I don't know. What's going through your mind? And then you always go back to, well, what if we, did XYZ to price and we delayed delivery a little bit? The what if we keeps the conversation going, which is step 3. This 3-step strategy. 1, ascertain true value. 2, use exploration. 3, use the word what if we to find some common ground where both parties are happy to continue to deliver and drive value. These conversations take practice, they take time. They also really require us to be fluent, but also not so well rehearsed that it comes off manipulative and it comes off self-serving. Again, that's that fine line. So let me sprinkle in a couple other ideas. When we're having those conversations, certainly not overzealously, yet you certainly can have conversations using permission. Would you mind if I shared with you? And when you use permission, you're showing respect. If you are coming up with some ideas and you're exploring, use active listening. So what I hear you saying is if we did XYZ to price and we altered our delivery by ABC, that would kind of get you closer to potentially looking at doing something. Do I have that right? I want to make sure I don't make any assumptions. That builds trust and relationship, because when you explore and you use what if we and you use perspectives, now you're in it together. You're not asking them to do something. There's a big difference. Good luck. Thank you for listening to another episode of Coaching Conversations by Tim Hagen and Progress Coaching. Now, our company is always coming out with new and innovative solutions to help leaders coach their employees. And recently, we just created a new service called Coach to You, where leaders can pick and choose topics and assign 7 to 21-day programs for employees to learn and, more importantly, apply actions and then reflect and share what they're going to do going forward as a result of the learning. It's called Coach to You. We're literally bringing coaching to your employees. If you're intrigued, we'll have a link in each one of our episodes where you can get more information. And again, thank you so much for listening to another episode.